this episode of the Shooting Star Press Podcast, brought to you by Audible. Audible.com is an Amazon company, and it is your source for all of your audio listening pleasure, if your audio listening pleasure includes audiobooks. This week, what I say you should check out is a awesome book by Neil deGrasse Tyson, Astrophysics for People in a Hurry. What is the nature of space and time? How do we fit within this universe? And how does the universe fit within us? There's no better guide through these mind-expanding questions than the acclaimed astrophysicist and best-selling author Neil deGrasse Tyson's new book. Check it out if you like all of the things in outer space and inner space. Audible.com. Check it out in the link in the description below. Welcome everybody to the Shooting Star Press, your source for the latest in wrestling news. Welcome to the Shooting Star Press Podcast. That's right, you're here in the squared circle with me. That's right, here with Lee Craft. And we are also joined by the ravishing guy from middle of nowhere, Tennessee, Ryan Cloud. How's it going, Ryan Cloud?
What up? No, I shouldn't.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Oh, okay.
They're gonna take us off the air.
I guess I probably shouldn't say that.
Only Booker T can get away with that.
LaMelo said it though. I know.
He didn't get away with it though.
Touche.
I mean, I'm not even gonna start doing the Hulk Hogan thing, because you're over here Booker T-ing it'd be bad. That's all.
Vince said it too though.
Well, he's Vince McMahon, okay?
This is true.
Vince McMahon is crazy as a sack full of rabid weasels. Okay?
Okay. I get it. I don't have the privilege. I get it. I totally get it now.
Well, you know who does have the privilege of not saying that, but being one of the most awesome people in the ring, hands down, in the world right now?
Who's that? I don't know who you're talking about. Just.
Well, he is a descendant of one of the greatest wrestling families in the world. And we're going to use that to get us into our first topic. He was on one of the greatest matches of his career, and probably one of the most career-defining things for a small indie organization that has only lasted for a few 15 years or so. Ryan Cloud, do you know what indie organization I'm talking about?
I believe that indie organization is ROH. Am I right? Do I win?
Yeah, I don't know if you win, but you're right. You're about right. We're talking about Ring of Honor. That's correct.
Oh, okay.
That's correct. This past weekend, what did we have at Ring of Honor?
We had... I forget the name of the pay-per-view.
Well, you are definitely not the best in the world, Ryan Cloud. It wasn't called Ryan Cloud. That's the hint.
It was not. Oh, Best of the Worlds. That's it. Best of the Worlds. I got it.
Gotcha. Ryan Cloud, sometimes a little slow on the uptake. That's what happens when you go around watching Little League Baseball and make it where we can't broadcast last week. Sorry about that, guys. Ryan Cloud enjoys trying to watch kids go to Pentaloma.
All right, you know what?
That sounded kind of weird.
Yeah, I know. I was about to say, I've heard enough jokes about this from other people, okay? I don't need it.
Anyway. So tell us about this best in the world.
Well,
paper.
I mean, it was a good pay-per-view. I mean, we got to see Cody Rhodes finally win a world title. I mean, it's something he's been working for. He didn't get it in WWE. You know, it just didn't work out. But he got it in ROH, and it was a big deal. I mean, he beat Christopher Daniels in what was a great match, a It was a phenomenal finish, and I mean, you couldn't be happier for the guy.
Oh yeah, the match was a very, very physical match. It was all over the place. There was lots and lots of up and down moments, and excuse me, sorry, that's what happens when I get excited. But there was all kinds of up and down moments. It was a hard fought battle between both of them. And man, if you're not watching Ring of Honor, I've got one question for you. Why not? Gosh, that's crazy. Ryan Cloud, he doesn't like Ring of Honor, but he's like, oh my God, I like Ring of Honor now. He used to not like Ring of Honor, but now he really loves it.
I never said I didn't like Ring of Honor.
I'd be watching Ring of Honor and he'd be throwing stuff at me.
I never got the time to sit down, and dive into it. But I catch a little few things here and there. But that's besides the point. The point is, Cody Rhodes got his lip sliced all the way open.
Oh yeah, this was a bloody match, not a bloody match like a Stone Cold Steve Austin passing out in his own blood, or that meme of John Cena whenever it's that time of the month thing. It's not that kind of bloody, but he got his lip busted open. He was bleeding pretty badly, as pretty badly comparatively for like a lip cut. So it was a pretty nasty cut. If you like seeing a little color, they got you a little color, enough to make you interested, but not so much that it's like, oh my God, he's gonna die.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty significant in an article that I had read, which we'll mention here in a little bit. They were asking, like, how did it feel to win? And he was like, it really didn't hit me until like a couple of days later, because after the match I had to go straight to the hospital because of that lip.
Yeah, it was a pretty bad, I don't want to say gruesome, because it wasn't gruesome, but it was a pretty nasty cut. It's pretty gnarly. You probably needed several stitches to close that back up. But it was a one rip-roaring good time of a match. There's so much craziness that went on, and we had a bloody two-sweet between Mr. Cody Rhodes and Mr. Marty Scurll, and it was a pretty awesome time. Earlier in the night, we saw Marty Scurll in action as well, which was a pretty good match. Go check that one out. I'm not going to give away the ending here, but it was a pretty good match against the Time Splitter. Everybody knows who he is. So check that out. Enjoy that. We also saw some pretty good matches throughout that entire card. Again, it was the best in the world card, best in the world pay-per-view for Ring of Honor. And that being said, it was all in all probably at least a solid A, if not an A plus pay-per-view. Ring of Honor, it seems, I don't know, it seems pretty hard at this moment in time for Ring of Honor to put on a bad pay-per-view or a bad major show. Ryan Cloud, what's your thoughts on that?
I mean, they've just got like so much talent there that you're right. It's just really hard for them to put on a like what we would classify as a bad pay-per-view. I mean, they're not all like Super Bowl home runs, but there's never really a show they have where you're like, I'm not really feeling it. I mean, it's a testament to how their writers work and just how well put together that organization is.
Oh yeah, even though it's young, it's got the talent, it's got the writing, it's got everything. If you're wanting to watch something that is not WWE but is actually really good, watch Ring of Honor. It is amazing. And speaking of Super Bowl slam dunk home runs, that thing that is a thing apparently. We saw a really, really good match as well on that card for. We saw the Rebellion versus Search and Destroy, and the loser had to give up had to disband their stable, and we saw Search and Destroy go over, and Rebellion now has to disband. Rebellion is one of my favorite groups to watch on Ring of Honor TV because I don't know, something about it just feels like it gets at the zeitgeist of what's going on in the world. So that right there just seems like, I don't know, I don't know if I say I connect to it, but I feel as though I understand what's going on more with them than any other group in Ring of Honor besides Bullet Club, their motivation and such. I mean, Bullet Club's motivation is to just be villainous villains who are villainy. And the Rebellion is, I don't know, I don't want to say like Antifa or anything like that, but it is that kind of some kind of resist movement. And it's not resisting the outside world, it's resisting within its own world of Ring of Honor. So it's not political or anything. So don't get it twisted or anything, but it's a resistance within its own world, within its own mythos. And it feels like I can understand what's going on more. So I'd be interested to see what's going to happen with the Rebellion having to break up. I don't know if they're actually going to break up, what that's going to lead to, but that is one of the more powerful stables within the Ring of Honor world, I guess is the way to put it. I don't know. Ring of Honor does some really good world building. Ryan Cloud, when I say world building, do you get what I mean?
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, so I mean, what are your thoughts on Ring of Honor, like world building wise, comparatively to like WWE or something, or TNA for God forbid?
I'm not even going to jump into Impact Wrestling. I'm just going to put that off to the side somewhere over there in its own land. But I kind of agree that ROH does do a great job with their world building within their own organization. I mean, when you look to the WWE, I don't really look at them so much as world building. I know they use the moniker, the WWE Universe and all that, but it kind of just feels like, everybody's off doing their own thing. Do you get what I'm saying?
I think so. I think I get what you're saying.
You see what I'm saying? And with ROH, it seems like everything, like you said, world building is they're intertwined in a way. Is that where you're going? Okay, I was about to say.
Yeah, like every group is intertwined within itself, and it's its own standalone world. It might be part of this world that we live in, but at the same time, it is its own standalone thing.
Right.
Like you're watching, I don't know, let's say you're watching Scrubs or ER or what's that other show, Grey's Anatomy or Hairspray. There you get how it works within our world that we're in, but at the same time, its own microcosm is that hospital, that high school, small, tiny little town thing, or whatever. It's not necessarily so entwined with what's going on in the outside world that has much to do with what's going on inside its own world. I guess Hairspray is not really a good...
No, Hairspray was a terrible example.
Yeah, I was just trying to make fun of Ryan Cloud. Sorry, Ryan Cloud.
I do that. Or, I mean, you could even go into, DC Universe, Marvel Universe. I mean, even that...
Yeah.
That, works. If we're using analogies, that's another good one, too.
Yeah, exactly. It's that you have your superheroes, you have their plight that they're going on within their own thing, but you also have the story that nobody's even talking about that's outside of the group, that if you need to, you can, but most likely you're not. which is kind of refreshing nowadays with a lot of things, because a lot of things are trying to pull in all of this stuff. Like, I don't think I've heard I might have heard maybe one or two Donald Trump jokes, or just political jokes in general, in Ring of Honor, but normally their political jokes are their internal political jokes that have to do with their internal stuff. And watching sports in general, or watching any type of entertainment, is escapism. I don't really want to hear about Bobby Lashley calling Donald Trump to get his endorsement for the match at Slammiversary, which we'll have some, what are those predictions for Slammiversary later? We'll touch that. But the whole time they've been in India over on TNA, they've been putting out these weird semi-political kind of jokes that it pulls you out of the action. You're like, oh yeah, that's going on outside of the ring. And I don't know, it feels like they're forcing in stuff. And Ring of Honor, they don't really do that. Occasionally you'll hear something, but not really. I mean, watching sports, watching anything is escapism. So, I mean, I don't really want to hear that. Ryan Claude, thoughts on that? Escapism, anything like that?
I feel like when we were talking about sports entertainment, like you were saying, with ROH and whatnot, I definitely don't want to see it in that, because like you said, it is a way to escape all the other BS that's going on in the world. I don't need Marty Scurll or, Christopher Daniels or anybody making a Trump joke. Same thing in WWE, which, I mean, in WWE, Trump has performed there, so, there's a connection there, but as far as, like, when we're talking about, like, let's say the NBA or the NFL, I feel like when you're watching the game, there's still escapism there.
Yeah, exactly.
It's, once the game's over and there, what happens off the field, there are obviously some political stances that are taken, but, I mean, still within the actual game, you don't really hear any of that. I guess that's kind of one of the things that made Colin Kaepernick unpopular, because he was actually doing it.
Yeah, that's probably true.
And that upset people, where, everybody takes a stand, out when the game's over, and people learn to deal with that. I guess because it was being thrown into their face.
Yeah.
During the game, it made people upset. But I digress. But yeah, I do agree that we do watch these things as a form of escapism, and we kind of need to leave it at that.
Yeah, and it's not even like Trump jokes, it's just political jokes in general.
Yeah.
I mean, occasionally one or two work, but it felt, I don't know, I just got rubbed the wrong way while I was watching TNA earlier, which kind of happens a lot, or Impact, sorry. With a lot of it seemed like they were forcing in some weird political jokes that you don't really need to throw in there. Yeah, and it's even worse because, yeah, Bobby Lashley was like Donald Trump's guy when they had the hair match in WWE, yeah. But that's you're in Impact now, Josh Matthews. How does that joke about Donald Trump even play into this at all? It seemed like it was a weird, forced political thing, and they do that a lot. I don't know, maybe that's more criticism. It's a praise for Ring of Honor, their world building, all of that they don't even have to resort to that, but it's also a major criticism of TNA, and it's probably just down to their writing. It's not even that they're forcing a Donald Trump joke, it's that they're forcing a joke, period, and then they're forcing a joke that really doesn't work anywhere in their thing, and it feels like they're trying to make some kind of weird statement that there's no need for. You want to make a political statement? Make a political statement about Jeff Jarrett. I mean, Lord knows there's all kinds of political statements you can make about him within your own within your own world. You don't need to come outside of your world. And like when I'm watching the NFL, they make jokes about Roger Goodell. That one doesn't pull me out of it. But if one of the like announcers starts making a joke about Hillary Clinton or starts making a joke about who are the other people? Jill Stein? I don't think they would make a joke about her. I don't think they even know who they are. But that kind of stuff will pull you out of the thing. I went to a hockey game once, and we were playing the Senators. The Predators were playing the Senators, and they said the only Senators that are actually working. And that one, like a joke like that doesn't pull you out of it because it's not necessarily that crazy of something. Even like the Senators were refusing to pass bills when I went to that, but at the same time, it's a general political joke about politicians not working. So it doesn't pull you out of the mythos. But if you start throwing in names that don't exist, like, yeah, they exist within your world, but they don't exist within your world, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, just as I said before, they really just needs to just stick with what's going on, like you said, within their own world. I mean, regardless. I mean, like I said, off season, off stage, whatever. Do your thing, beat your chest, spearhead whatever you want to. But leave it outside. Let's not bring it in.
Yeah, I mean, like Daniel Bryan was staunchly far left leaning, and I'm sure he went to like Hillary Clinton stuff. He went to all of that stuff, but he didn't talk about that in the ring. And it's like was it the Lakers that said they weren't going to stay at any Trump hotels or anything? And they didn't talk about that on the court. They just made a statement about it, not during any game or anything. And it's, I don't know. There is a term that Disney uses called on-stage, off-stage, which is basically what you just said. Like, when you're on stage, you're on stage. When you're off stage, you're off stage. You can have your stuff. You keep those two worlds separate. And that just, I don't know. It's a little bit of a criticism of, I don't know if it's a little bit of the I don't know who it's a criticism of. It's just a statement, I guess. And it's a praise of Ring of Honor for being able to keep things within their own mythos and not having to resort to grabbing stuff from outside their mythos and forcing it into it because of their storytelling, their mythos, their writing. Everything is so strong within them, and they don't have to do that. And that's why I like Ring of Honor.
Agreed. Yeah. But, yeah, pretty much just we put ROH up there on a pedestal.
Well, I mean, we started the show with it, and ESPN wrote a big article about it, and it's it's if you want to watch a show that isn't WWE but is doing really good within its own lore, within its own storyline, Ring of Honor is good. And it's not as crazy as the next one we're probably going to talk about, but it is easier. It's easier to grasp than the next one we're probably going to talk about. But yeah, it is what it is. And I'm going to go ahead and put out what my match of the week is. I'm going to go with the Cody Rhodes versus Christopher Daniels for the title for the Ring of Honor team. I'm
gonna go right there with you. So,
all right.
But
all right.
Before we move on to that other promotion, one thing that I want to ask, with like you said, ESPN put out an article, Cody Rhodes winning the ROH title. What does Cody Rhodes winning that title and it being publicized, because he is a big name in the sport. What does that do for Ring of Honor? What does that do for Cody Rhodes?
Well, Cody Rhodes' stock is already really high. The name Rhodes is known outside of people that watch the sport because it's the Rhodes family name. If you watched wrestling from, I don't know, at least from the 70s on, that name has been involved in sports entertainment for a long time. And what that does is people that were watching him and then they stopped, or people that watched his dad are going to say, oh, hey, let's see what his son is like. People that were watching Stardust and were watching Cody Rhodes and then didn't like what happened when they made him Stardust and then stopped watching are going to start watching again. It really it doesn't necessarily raise his stock, but what it does is it creates potential for his stock to be raised, and it reminds people that he exists, which there's several people that probably don't remember or didn't realize that he was still doing something because he's not in the major promotion. And what else this does is Ring of Honor getting coverage on ESPN. That's going to get people to say, oh, there's another league besides the one league that I know exists. It's like when ESPN shows a Canadian football game. I mean, yeah, you know your Titans, you know your Giants, you know your Jets, you know your Rams, wherever they are now.
They're still Rams.
Well, I know what they are. I said where they are.
Oh.
But you don't know the Calgary Stampeders. You don't know the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. You don't know
Montreal Alouettes.
Yep. I think it's Toronto Alouettes.
I think it's
Montreal. I'm not sure, but I think it might be Toronto because the crazy guy, the crazy mayor, that did crack at the press conference was wearing one of their jerseys, and he was the Toronto mayor. So I could just be crossing lines, but you don't know about those teams until you see the one game that they show a week on ESPN. It makes it almost impossible to follow that sport, but it gets you interested in it, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, hey, there is somebody besides the NFL that you could go watch, and you're like, hey, maybe I'll start watching this. It gets all kinds of new eyes on the content, and as a content creator, that's gold. You want more eyes on your content.
And it is Montreal, by the way. Sorry, just had to throw that out there. Had to Google it. Anyways,
it's all good. I don't care. I only follow the Blue Bombers. I don't care who the other teams are, because the Blue Bombers are awesome.
The only reason I knew it was Montreal is because Jonathan Crompton, that poor soul, played there. Anyways.
Vince Young. Oh, timeout. Vince Young got cut.
Of course, Vince Young.
That's horrible. He was playing for Saskatchewan Roughriders, and I was gonna watch he was gonna be in the first game, and I turned it on, and the first thing I saw was they cut him. It's like, oh, that makes me sad, but not sad in any, just nebulously sad. I'm like, oh, that's kind of. Oh well.
It's Vince Young. What can you say? At SS Press Podcast on Twitter, Shooting Star Press on YouTube. Lee, roll us into this next segment.
So, like I said, it's kind of that world building is a real great thing to talk about and all that stuff. So, we're going to get into another real interesting place that has got all kinds of crazy world building going on. There is a little promotion out of Boyle Heights, California. It is called Lucha Underground. And we are in the midst of the Cuerto Cup. We're still in round 1, and we saw some amazing action this week. And man, if you're not following this, check it out. we've had all kinds of craziness going on. We had, what is his name? Vipiro, not Vampiro. The guy's name is Viper in Spanish, and I can't say it for the life of me at the moment. Even though I took 9 years of Spanish.
That sounds terrible.
Oh yeah. But we saw him in action. We saw the the Rabbit Clan. We saw them in action. They were almost all eliminated from the tournament. We saw all kinds of different things, and we saw a great match between Taya and everybody's favorite sleazeball, Joey Ryan. Oh my gosh. This was hold on. Let me tell you about Joey Ryan. Ryan, how do you know about Joey Ryan?
Set the scene for us. Set the scene.
Do you know about Joey Ryan?
I do know about Joey Ryan.
Joey Ryan is a nasty individual. This gentleman, he enjoys these intergender matches because he gets to touch the ladies. If you are a third wave feminist, you will not like this man. He is known for his finisher. It is called the penisplex. Like, he hits you with his groin and flips you over. He is a interesting individual. He comes out, he's very tan, very, very orange tan, not tan, but like spray tanned and covered in oil. And he fought Taya this week for round one of the Quarto Cup. And man, I've said this several times that, and this was before they unveiled who's going to be in the Mae Young Classic in WWE, but I said this several times, if they were going to have a tournament for women's wrestlers, Taya should be in it. And if they were going to start headhunting from CMLL, AAA, from the Lucha groups, they should probably pick up Taya. She is an amazing luchadora. She's from Vancouver, speaking of Canada. Or I think Vancouver. Vancouverian is what, because Vampiro is having trouble saying Vancouverian, which is weird because I think is from Vancouver also. But this match, though, the one thing I had to ask was, how many showers did Taya have to take after wrestling Joey Ryan? She did pick up the W over him, which is great, and she's going to be advancing. So if they put the belt on her at the end of the thing, I would not complain. She is amazing. We also saw some craziness going on. I think there's probably a storyline brewing between Phoenix and what is that guy's name? Marty the Moth Martinez, and another guy that I'm not sure. I had never seen him before. That they're probably all going to start pining over Melissa Santos. So Melissa Santos, since most of you probably aren't watching Lucha Underground, Melissa Santos is probably one of the best ring announcers that's out there right now. She was in the line, probably in the same vein as Brandy Rhodes, kinda a lot of eye candy, but also very good at being an announcer. Mm-hmm. It's kind of hard to not be a good announcer, but there are a lot of bad announcers also. So you would think it's an easy job, but if you're not doing it right and you're not announcing people right, you stick out. But if you're doing it really good, you don't necessarily stick out, which is good, because the show is not about you; it's about bringing out the people. So if you're standing out in that and it being bad, that's bad. But if you're not standing out, that means you're doing really good. It's one of those thankless jobs, like being a sports writer or anything, like Ryan Cloud. So, yeah, but there is possibly something going to be going on between them because Marty the Moth Martinez is creeping up on her. We also have some other things going on with Mil Muertes, and I have a feeling Mil Muertes is basically... I'm trying to figure out how to put him, because he's not the John Cena of Lucha Underground, because he wins a lot, but he's like a creepy bad guy. Let's see, he's like a super heel, and he wins all the time, unlike the super heels over in WWE who lose all the time. Basically, if Roman Reigns was super over and was a good villain, then you would have Mil Muertes, and was the size of the Big Show. So possibly what Cass is going to be eventually. Yeah, so we had that, and we had Katrina out there. We had a few different things going on over there. It's a very interesting show, and the way every match had, and then they ended on a certain note. Every match had been announced for the Cuerto Cup except for the very last match, because they didn't have a opponent for Son of Havoc. If you follow CZW or any of the other random things, he wrestles as Matt Cross in all of those, but in Lucha Underground he is Son of Havoc, and he didn't have a partner. Or not a partner, a opponent. They ended the show with a guy dressed in basically his same ring gear with the big beard and all that stuff, black skull cap with eyes cut out, and his name was Son of Madness. He came from the open road just like Son of Havoc. So we're not sure who this guy is yet, but I think next week we will be having a match for them. They're pretty far down on the list of matches, so I'm not sure if it's next week or in the next 2 weeks, but they still have at least half of round 1 to go. I think there's 36 opponents in the tournament. It's one of the bigger tournaments that's been done in a long time, next to that one that CM Punk's supposed to be in with 128 people, which is probably not going to happen. But it's one of the bigger tournaments that a major promotion has done in a long time. So, Ryan Cloud, any idea who's going to take home the Aztec Gold? Well, it's not for the Aztec Gold, but it is a Aztec Gold.
I'm still pulling for. Let's see. I'm still pulling for Pentagon Dark.
Okay, I like it. I like Pentagon. That's what he does.
That's what he does. It's his thing.
Yeah. Well, if he wants to break some arms, I'm cool with that. But who would I want to take? I would probably say, I want to see Taya take it. That would be amazing. I want to see Taya take it. And then the other thing they got going on is there is a big match coming up between, I almost said John Morrison, but he's not John Morrison there. He's Johnny Mundo in Lucha Underground, and he is going to be wrestling Rey Mysterio Jr. or just Rey Mysterio. Or I'm not sure if he's Rey Mysterio Jr. or Rey Mysterio in Lucha Underground. It's kind of malleable there, but they're going to be wrestling, and these vignettes that they've been having that are leading up to it are amazing. It feels like it sounds like they got Robin Leach or a Robin Leach impersonator doing the voiceover, but it's showing a lot of potential for this match. I don't think I've been this hyped up for a match in a while, even especially for a smaller promotion like this. Any idea on who's going to take the W in that?
See, that's one that's got me kind of on the ropes. Because, I mean, Rey Mysterio, he's a big name. He's a great talent. But Johnny Mundo just seems to be one of the guys. Which, I mean, Rey Mysterio is too. But Johnny Mundo seems to be one of the guys, in Lucha Underground. If I had to pick one today, I would probably lean more Johnny Mundo.
All right, you, me, and Brian Cage, we all have the same prediction on this one, which is interesting. Brian Cage has said that because Brian Cage does not like Johnny Mundo in any sense of the word. And speaking of Brian Cage, he was also in action this past week as well for the Puerto Cup, and we saw a little bit of that gauntlet that he's been wearing. He put it aside, and yes, Vincenzo, I can't think of his last name. He got jobbed out. That's basically it. He got jobbed out, and then he tried to hit He tried to hit Brian Cage with the glove, and Brian Cage just lit him up, dude. He brutalized this man in the ring. I mean, if you're not watching Lucha Underground, I have the same question for you. Why aren't you? Other than probably not having El Rey Network. But hey, you can check it out on other things. Check it on the internet. It's cool. At least go back on Netflix and check it out, because was it the first two seasons? I think are on Netflix now.
Yeah, the first two are.
Yeah, go check it out. You can catch up with the storylines and all that stuff. You can figure out why we're in Boyle Heights, California, why Dario Cueto has all this power, and who Katrina is. She follows me on Twitter and Instagram, by the way. That's right. I'm famous. All the Olympians, all the Olympians and Katrina, they all follow me. Pentagon, one of the Pentagon Junior, he's got like 3 Twitters that are all verified as him. One of them follows me. Anyway, I guess going from that good world building, we can go over to India.
that other thing,
Not so good world building. Ryan Cloud, can you tell me what is wrong with TNA right now?
Everything.
Or not TNA, but Impact?
Everything.
That's unfortunate. That's unfortunate.
I will say this. About Impact. I'll give them one little thing. Just, one minuscule thing. And that is, it kind of feels like their X division is getting a little bit better.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I mean, we've talked on here about how we weren't necessarily big fans of, once Jarrett, got back in the picture, of bringing in old faces and treating, propping them up. But since Sanjay Dutt has come back, since Low Key has come back, the X division's gotten a little bit better. It feels like there's a little bit more stability there now.
Yeah, and those guys, they are older faces, but and they are actually faces too. But they are older faces, but at the same time they don't feel dated, even though I think Low Key has been around since like the very first episode.
He's been there a while.
Yeah, and then Sanjay Dutt was there like within at least within the first year. So, but they don't feel dated. They don't feel old. Like, it doesn't feel like they're propping up a Hulk Hogan past his prime, or a Sting past his prime, or a Hardy Boys until they became crazy or broken or whatever they're going to be called in WWE. So like, they don't feel like nostalgia acts, even though I guess they kind of are, but at the same time, they don't feel like it. Who's been in WWE since that time? I mean, it's like 15 years, because it's Slammiversary 15 coming up this Sunday. Who's been in WWE that long that doesn't feel like a nostalgia actor still feels fresh. I mean, can you think of anybody? I mean, I guess Ziggler, maybe.
I mean, I don't know. I was gonna say Cena. I don't like Cena,
but he doesn't. He doesn't feel this. He feels like he's been there a long time. Whereas these guys over at TNA or Impact or what have you, I mean, they've been away and they've popped in and popped out. I guess it's the fact that they go away for a while,
yeah,
and then they come back. I mean, Cena goes away for a while too, but he's ever present.
With Cena, he's no matter what he's off doing, he's always tied back to WWE. Where that wasn't necessarily the case with Sanjay Dutt or Low Key or
Homicide,
LAX, you know.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, that's probably it. It's. I guess it's a absence makes the heart grow fonder type of thing. I mean, I'd rather see them come back than Scott Steiner come back, who is going to be in action at Slammiversary this coming weekend, or in, I guess, a day or two or whatever that is. So, yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. So, what is the best way to go about talking about TNA right now? So we've got a few different storylines going on over there. We're going to see... This past week, we saw a major, I don't know if it's major, but it was not a gauntlet match. What are they called? Kind of like a battle royale, but not exactly a battle royale. And it was a really good match with Ryan Cloud's, one of Ryan Cloud's favorite guys, going over and winning the Sony Channel 6 India Trophy. Matt Sydal.
Yeah,
Ryan Cloud, how do you feel about Matt Sydal?
You know how I feel about Matt Sydal. I love Matt Sydal in a professional way.
Does him winning this little kind of exhibition any trophy thing, does that help him any outside of TNA? Does that help him in TNA or outside of TNA in any sense?
In TNA, I think it helps him gain a little bit of. I mean, we all know who he is, but you know, inside TNA, I think that will help prop him up, and maybe, not even maybe. I mean, he's going to be a challenger for the X Division title very soon. I have a feeling.
Oh yeah.
Outside of TNA, no. I mean, it doesn't really. I mean, nobody even knows.
I mean, yeah.
But I mean, inside TNA, I would definitely say that it's going to be something nice for him to have once he jumps into that X Division title picture.
Right. Like him, I guess it feels like there's all those things in the NCAA that are like special trophies that go on that don't mean anything inside the NCAA, but they mean a lot to the people that win them. It's like when you win the Iron Bowl, or if you win the Boulevard Trophy for like Lipscomb versus Belmont in basketball, or I mean any of those type of things. I mean, Racklight, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, I guess that's what it feels like. It's one of those things. So that being said, it probably helps. I think it raises Sydal's. I think it raises his stock within TNA, but outside, not much. It's going to be another thing, another bullet you can throw on his Wikipedia page. Won the Sony Channel 6 India trophy or whatever for the X Division, but anywhere else, not really a big thing. Let's see. Then we also have the women's division stuff going on. We've got Rosemary and Allie becoming friends, which is really interesting. The women's title picture really got confused with the recent exodus of everybody from Maria Kanellis to, I guess, Jade is gone. I haven't really seen anything that says she's in there anymore or away, but I've seen her on a few different shows, wrestling as Mia Lynn. I'm not exactly sure what her name is outside of. Yeah, it's Mia something. And like, I was pretty hyped to see the red versus blue storyline they were going on, but then it just kind of stopped. That's one of those weird things about TNA is their storylines go, and then they just screech to a halt. And then you don't see that storyline anymore. There's not an end to it. There's not anything. I mean, we saw this with the Moose versus Cody Rhodes storyline that was going, and they were fighting over Brandy, but not really fighting over Brandy, but were fighting over Brandy type of thing. And then it just kind of ended. There was no resolution. There was no blow off. So for all I know, Cody is still like stewing over what's going on between him and Moose and Brandy, which I don't think that he is, because they were on Snapchat the other day, and Cody Rhodes couldn't figure out how to make the Snapchat thing work on his phone. It was a pretty interesting thing to see, because he's tapping the screen. All you see is his finger hitting the screen, and then she's like, no, and then it goes out, and and then it restarts again. Was it Face, or I think it's Instagram Live is what that was on. It was so weird. So I have a feeling he's not stewing over that anymore, and I think that storyline has just ended. Same thing with this women's division, women's title picture. The storyline just ended. Right now we're seeing Sienna and Laurel Van Ness fighting Allie and Rosemary, which it's all kinds of weirdness going on there. But I do enjoy the friendship that has been going on between Allie and Rosemary, which is it's a kind of a weird friendship for them to be having. It'd be like if Bayley and Bray Wyatt started doing stuff together.
Great analogy.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically what it is, except if Bray Wyatt were a lady. Lady Wyatt? Brady Wyatt? Brady Wyatt.
We'll go with Brady Wyatt. It sounds right.
Yeah, exactly. So that's something that's going to be interesting to see how that turns out. I hope this storyline just doesn't end like all the other storylines have been doing. But I mean, without Maria Kanellis there, it kind of makes it hard for them to push the storyline forward any, because there doesn't seem like there's a lot of motivation between Sienna and Laurel Van Ness to stay in the way they're going. But it feels like it's just kind of pushing itself, even though there's not a lot of motivation for it to be pushed. Then we also have the other thing that's going on. We have, speaking of Rosemary and former members of Decay, we have the lawyer of Jeremy Borash, Joseph something or other. It's Abyss. I mean, it's basically corporate Abyss. So they've been training in Nashville to take on for their match at Slammiversary between Scott Steiner and Josh Matthews. Yeah, Josh Matthews. And as they've been talking, Jeremy Borash said, "You need to unleash the monster," and he gives corporate Abyss a toy of Abyss, and then he starts having these flashbacks of being Abyss. So I hope, speaking of stories not ending, I hope this actually ends that story and has a resolution and brings Abyss back. Because, man, I never thought I'd miss seeing a kind of overweight guy who seems like a scary monster beat people up, but I miss seeing Abyss beat people up. I mean, I'm not getting enough of that over on WWE with Bray Wyatt getting beat up all the time. Abyss doesn't lose, so I mean, I like seeing that. I like seeing people that are over win, and that's usually how it works with Abyss. So, I mean, Ron Claude, what are your thoughts on that storyline?
I mean, sort of like you said, I would want this type of storyline to have I would want every storyline to have a resolution, but especially something like this, like you wouldn't want to to watch something, and like in this case, we see Abyss or Corporate Abyss, whatever his name is, having these flashbacks.
Joseph. His name's Joseph.
We see Joseph having these flashbacks of when he was Abyss or whatnot, or he has had flashbacks when he was Abyss, and we wouldn't want that to happen and then it just disappear. That would be, which I mean, it'd be very TNA for them to do, but
yeah,
we need a resolution. We need to see Joseph turn back into the Abyss, into the monster that we all know and love from when TNA first started.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like they were they had to write off Decay, because Crazy Steve had signed with WWE. We know that's happened. We haven't seen him on WWE TV yet. He is probably down at Full Sail, trying to figure out his new character or whatever it's going to be. So we haven't seen him yet, but they had to write off Decay. So they had LAX come in and give them a funeral. And they couldn't write out Rosemary because she had the title. So it was kind of hard to write her out. But they thought, well, we could just change Abyss to Joseph, the lawyer, and get him all litigatey. But it's one of those things where you see this thing happen, and you're like, wait a second, that's Abyss. Or like when they switched out, when they got fake Diesel. You're like, wait a second. Isn't that the insert all of the other things that Glenn Jacobs has been until he was Kane? And you're like, that doesn't look like Big Daddy Cool. That looks like a fake dude. That looks like a dude that was a tree at one point. And you know it's not the same guy, or you know it is the same guy. Changing people's gimmicks, if they're such a well-known gimmick, it seems it's not smart, if that makes any sense. It just doesn't seem like a smart idea. And I'm sure this is them listening to the fans and realizing that what they did by turning him into Joseph was not a good idea. So this might have some really good repercussions. I don't know if I'd say good repercussions, but might have a good outcome, I guess, at Slammiversary. So Ryan Claude, you wanna possibly do a pick'em for Slammiversary?
Let's roll with it.
All right. So what we've got first, we've got a unification match for the Impact Wrestling Heavyweight title and the Global Force Wrestling Championships. So this will unify the title. And what we have is Alberto El Patron, who holds the Global Force Wrestling title, fighting Bobby Lashley with the Impact Wrestling title. Bobby Lashley is going to have King Mo in his corner. So that could be an interesting thing. You know who King Mo is, right?
Oh, yeah. Everybody knows. Well, I guess if you don't watch MMA, you don't know who King Mo is. But, he's King Mo.
Pretty well-known name, but I guess if you're not a big MMA fan, you might not know him. But, yeah. So who do you got in this match?
Got it. Oh, man. Title unification.
Mm-hmm.
You got King Mo. I would almost... You know what? This is what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna throw a long shot here. I'm gonna say we have
King Mo. King Mo wins them both.
I'm gonna say we have Alberto El Patron win the titles, and it's because of King Mo, and we're gonna see a King Mo Bobby Lashley feud. That's it.
That would be really cool, actually.
Oh crap! And that means Impact's not gonna do it. Crap.
Yep. That would be really awesome, though. I would not mind seeing that at all. But I have a feeling it's probably going to be Alberto El Patron as well. I don't know if it's going to be because of interference from King Mo, but yes, Alberto El Patron is probably going to take it. Just because he is the new guy, he is the hot commodity. That's kind of where I'm coming from.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah. Which belt becomes the de facto belt?
I mean, you got to go with the TNA title here. I mean, it's Impact. You got to go with that title.
Yep, makes sense. All right. So next match we've got is in the women's division. We've got a unification match for the Impact Wrestling Knockouts title and the Global Force Wrestling Women's Championship. We've got Rosemary versus Cena.
I'm gonna go with Cena.
Okay. Yeah, I like Cena. I like Cena for this one. Rosemary's held the title for quite a while. And let's see. I like Cena for this. She has a lot of power. She also follows me on Instagram and Twitter, by the way. That's right. Pretty famous. I know. It's cool. Don't worry about it. But that's why I'm picking her. No, because she has a lot of power behind her, and she does have a lot of the momentum going into this. And I don't know, they're trying to push her as the new what is that Beyonce calls herself? The
Queen Bee?
That's the she's called herself a few different things. So that's kind of what Ciena's going for right now. So I could see her taking it. Do we see, and then question about the belts, do we unify this? Do you see any changes to the name? Probably like Impact Wrestling Women's Championship instead of Knockouts Championship? Like WWE did?
Yeah. See, the reason, I would almost want to say no because WWE did do that. I would almost want to say that Impact would just be like, nah, we're gonna keep it the Knockouts because we got the Knockouts, or something like that.
Yeah, they change it completely. Divas Championship.
It's like we're gonna get really innovative, guys. We're gonna call it the Divas title. Yeah, you like it?
We're gonna call it Women Impact Women of Honor Divas title.
Sounds legit. Sounds legit.
Yep. All right. So we both have Cena on that one. So what's the next one? We've got the unification match for the Impact Wrestling World and Global Force Wrestling Tag Team Championships. So we've got LAX versus Drago El Hijo del Fantasma and Naomichi Murafuji and Tajiri Ishimori and Laredo Kid and Garza Jr.
Oh, man.
It's a mouthful.
That is. That's a lot of people, I'm going to say. Just for namesake, I don't know. Because I kind of want Laredo Kid to win. You know what? I'll go LAX.
Gotcha. If out of the four teams, it's most likely going to be Laredo Kid and Garza Jr.
That's what I was leaning toward too.
Yeah. I like LAX for this, but at the same time, I think that Laredo Kid and Garza Jr. probably have a chance at it. I'm going to go with them just to be contrary to Ryan Cloud. Because both of them have a lot to gain by this. The other teams, not so much. But, I mean, we know how TNA or Impact is. And we also saw we also saw some weird stuff. We've seen weird stuff out of them before. So who's going to win? I'm going with Laredo Kid and Garza Jr. Ryan Cloud's going with LAX. LAX is great. I like LAX. Speaking of LAX, there's been a push for Homicide to go into the Hall of Fame at Slammiversary. What do you think about that?
I mean, I'm down with that. I mean, Homicide I won't say one of the first, but he was definitely a crossover star for Impact Wrestling. I mean, he started out as part of, which I mean, he stayed in LAX, but he got his billing as a member of that tag team. I mean, he was a tag team wrestler in TNA, and then there's the breakup, but he also was great as a singles competitor in the X division. So I'm okay with it.
Okay, I can dig it. Yeah, he's if I pick somebody, I guess they like to put people that are currently on their roster in the Hall of Fame, and people that are in their roster right now, especially from the guys that they've brought out of retirement or brought back into the fold, I would probably pick him out of the group. So that brings us to our next one. Speaking of the X division, we have a 2 out of 3 falls match for the X division championship. This is a rematch from from 2 weeks ago, where Sanjay Dutt took the title off of Loki in India. So Loki comes out and he says, "I want a match since I gave you a match." And they're all nice. And all of a sudden, and after he grants him the match, he then proceeds to beat him down and leave, with all of India booing. So we've got Sanjay Dutt holding the title versus Loki. Who takes?
Oh man, that's another tough one. I'm gonna go Sanjay Dutt.
Okay, I can see that. I like Sanjay Dutt for this, because I don't necessarily like Loki as a champion. I mean, they're kind of facey. Loki could pull off heel a little better than Sanjay Dutt, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I can see which means Loki should have the title, but at the same time, Loki seems like somebody who does better chasing a title than holding a title. So, like, he's the bad guy that's fighting the guy that's too good. He's the Lex Luthor, if you get what I'm saying. And Sanjay's I don't want to call him Superman, but in that analogy, he would be Superman. So that's kind of how I would see it. He's the bad guy that's kind of at the disadvantage type of thing, and he does better chasing. That's just my opinion, though. So yeah, I mean, that's that. Speaking of the chase, we have a Full Metal Mayhem match. I'm not exactly sure what this entails. I think it's what is it? Like a kind of like a weapons match, kind of like an Extreme Rules match, but it's going to be a mixed tag match between the Wolves. You know, everybody's favorite former tag team. We got Eddie Edwards and his wife Alicia versus Davey Richards and Angelina Love. And this is probably going to get pretty violent. I mean, as we've seen the Wolves before, they always had pretty violent matches. I went back and watched a match from 2015 for the X Division tournament. That was Davey Richards and Eddie Edwards wound up having to fight each other, which was a really good, but it was also kind of a pretty violent match for and all these assaults between Davey Richards and Eddie Edwards recently have been violent too. They both got disqualified from that X Division, what is that called? Like not Royal Rumble, but Battle Royale. That's the word I was looking for. They both got disqualified from that because they got too violent, and that was just two people that Matt Sydal didn't have to fight to win the trophy. So this could be a pretty messy exchange. Ron Cloud, who you got going on this one?
I'm going Davey Richards.
Okay, I can see that. He's a lot. Davey Richards and Angelina Love have been pretty scary in this match, or in the lead up to this. Speaking of scary things, we have a strap match next. It's going to be Ethan Carter III versus James Storm.
I am a big EC3 fan.
Oh, hold on. He's not EC3 anymore. He's eSing3 right now.
Oh, okay.
He changed it to get the will of the Indian people.
I still feel like E-Sync 3 should win, but this just kind of feels like a match that was tailor-made for James Storm to win, so I'll go with that.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, Ethan Carter III has started beating him with a belt recently after he dressed up like him, like he played Halloween for a couple matches and started beating him with the belt, and then he's just kept the belt. It seems like something that James Storm should win because of, like, he's from Lever's Fork, Tennessee, by God, and he's going to beat that boy down type of stuff. But at the same time, Ethan Carter III is the de facto John Cena of Impact. That's his most close analogy. So he's probably going to win, and he is fighting for the glory of the name Carter. So does this eventually bring back everybody's favorite owner?
I will say yes. At least I'm not going to say that it's going to be a prolonged thing, but a television appearance or two, I could definitely see that happening.
Yeah, she's been appearing in all of my most recent fan fictions, so she might as well be on TV. Don't worry about it. They're not posted anywhere. They're posted all over my Tumblr. Don't go to my Tumblr. I don't have a Tumblr.
Totally going.
Don't worry about it.
It's happening right now.
All right. Dixie Carter Lover 555. That's not it at all. No. All right. Anyway, speaking of guest appearances, we have D'Angelo Williams. Everybody knows D'Angelo Williams. He plays for the Fall. And he is going to be a tag match with Moose. And he's going to be fighting Chris Adonis and Eli Drake. Ron Cloud, what you got?
You know D'Angelo Williams and Moose is going to win that match.
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
You don't bring in a celebrity for that to lose. I mean, you bring in celebrity to get headlines and to get notoriety. I mean, it's hand down D'Angelo Williams and Moose.
Yeah, definitely. That's all you really have to say about that. And then we get to the main event, if you ask Matthews, the main event of the night, Jeremy Borash and Joseph Park versus Josh Matthews and Scott Steiner. Keep in mind, Josh Matthews' contract is up at Slammiversary.
And because of that, I'm going with Borash and
Abyss.
Who's a tit? Yeah, I was about to say Abyss.
Yeah.
For that
Joseph
reason
Park
alone.
Yeah, they've got Scott Steiner in there. I have a feeling that Scott Steiner is going to be in there. He's probably going to cause them to lose, but be super BA about it. That's probably what's going to happen. At least that's how I see it going down, is Scott Steiner is the reason why Josh Matthews and him lose, because of something BA that he does. Because that's all Scott Steiner does is be BA. Let's be... I mean, he's kind of goofy and all that stuff, but everything he does is BA. Yeah. So, Cloud, what do you think this... if you were going to grade this soon, like, pre-grade, what do you think it's going to be?
Based on what we have here, I'm going to pre-grade it a solid... It has potential to be a solid B.
Okay. If we were grading it, pre-grading it against all TNA, would you make it an A for a TNA pay-per-view just by booking alone?
Yes, for a TNA pay-per-view, I'd definitely give it an A. If I'm basing it solely on what they've shown in the past, I would say it could be an A.
Gotcha. within its own world, but within the greater sporting world at large, a B at most, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about where I'm at. Speaking of B shows, speaking of B shows, you want to lead on to SmackDown?
I think this is a good spot to get some money. I think this is a good spot to get some money. Money. Anyway.
So we're getting it by singing songs from the 80s? Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. I like that.
We do it.
But the way I normally get my money is I get people to go down to the description section down below and click on the link that says Amazon. If you go to Amazon, you can sign up for an Amazon Prime membership. And what is included in Amazon Prime membership, you ask? Well, it's got all kinds of things like free shipping, special deals, all kinds of different things like getting access to Amazon Now, which is a really cool set of apps. There's movies and videos and all kinds of really fun TV shows on there. And my gosh, there's access to Audible.com and Kindle books. Dude, if you want free shipping, if you need free shipping, if you need anything from Amazon, if you have a Echo, if you have, oh, hey Alexa, oh, I shouldn't have done that, don't get angry at me. If you have one of those fancy refrigerators, you want to sign up for Amazon Prime. Hit it up, down in the description below. Help us out. Let's help you out. We get everything. All right. Anyway, Brian Cloud, can you help me out with telling me what went on SmackDown?
It's the biggest thing is we got a second women's Money in the Bank because
maybe we should back up a second.
Yeah.
What we since we missed last week, Brian Cloud, why do we have a second Money in the Bank match? What happened at Money in the Bank?
Well, at Money in the Bank, we had James Ellsworth essentially winning the match and giving the briefcase to Carmella. That's what we had.
But he's a man.
And
well, I don't know if I call him a man.
He is of the male gender.
He is male.
And the WWE or the SmackDown execs were like, "Yo, you're a dude," and James is like, "Yeah," and like, "You can't do that." So now we got to go and have a second Money in the Bank ladder match on live TV. We gotta give it away on SmackDown.
Hey, I mean, I'm cool with. They already gave it away. They had you pay for it once, and like, hey, we'll give it away for free as well. And I'm not gonna complain about that. If they want to give me. If they want to give me free money matches, I'm cool with that. Don't ask Stone Cold about it because he will stunner you. But anybody else, I'm cool with that. So yeah, I mean, it was a lot to unpack this past week about all of this thing. People are angry about a man winning the first women's match. People are angry. So you got your feminists, they're angry about that. You've got your men's rights activists angry that he would give his resources, the Money in the Bank briefcase, to Carmella, trying to keep steal his resources or whatever they talk about. And all of Twitter has been ablaze about all of these crazy things. So I'm glad that they redid the match. And who went over in the match, in the rematch?
Carmella.
Yep.
I mean, I guess when you look at it that way, was all you said. I guess that was their way of saying, you know what? If you're gonna get mad, we're just gonna redo the match and we're just gonna have the same outcome. How about that?
Yep.
Just what's gonna happen.
Yeah. So, Ryan Cloud, I told you Carmella was gonna go over. That's what happens. I just said Carmella's going over. Doesn't make any sense, but she's going over because she's the only one that doesn't make any sense for. And that's what happened. Because TNA, I guess.
Sure. They was like, well, Impact's, done some stupid things. We might as well just, try it out here and see how it works.
Yeah.
I will say that I'm not, like, appalled. I wouldn't have been appalled by anybody winning. But I do feel like I'm not the biggest fan of Carmella winning. Like, I'm not appalled by it, but I'm not, like, super excited about it. But,
Yeah.
I mean, she did win it twice. Do you feel like that helps her stock? I mean, just her winning it twice, does that help her stock and make her a more credible threat to the weird the weird SmackDown Women's title picture as it stands right now?
Yes. I mean, she's always been kind of a looming threat, but nothing that you felt substantial. It's like people say, oh, since Peter Parker has spider sense, does he always get that kind of is it always just going off and you learn to live with it type of thing? She's that underlying spider sense. It's always been going off. You're like, that something's going to happen here sometime. So yeah, this is going to make her where she seems more like, oh, she could probably blow a bunch of stuff out of the water. And if she didn't have Ellsworth following her around all the time, being a, what's the word?
Simp.
Not to use the MRA words, but yes. Or I guess it's also I don't know, doesn't matter. We're not getting into that whole weirdness. But yeah, basically being her little simp. But I was kind of going with something like a goofball type of thing. He's a comic relief to her kind of seriousness. And if he wasn't following her around all the time, she would seem more like a legitimate threat. But since they've got that goofiness, it kind of detracts from her threat standing, but it also makes her more of a dark horse. And that's kind of what I was saying. She's kind of like a dark horse candidate, dark horse person that could possibly win. She's the Leicester City if you're a soccer fan. So that was that was the whole thing. And yeah, I don't know, it really does raise her up quite a bit, but at the same time, if he wasn't as goofy, it's kind of hard to not make him as or any more or less goofy. But if he wasn't, and I'm talking about James Ellsworth, if he wasn't as goofy as he is, she would seem slightly more credible as a threat, because it seems like he could possibly mess her up at any time.
Yeah, and I kind of take it at this: if their plan is to at some point put the title on Carmella, it feels like the near future is probably the best shot they have at doing that. I mean, with not to downgrade or disrespect Naomi, but we've talked about it before. She kind of feels like she's champion, but there's nothing overwhelming about her title reign. Like, we know she's champion, but it doesn't feel. I hate to say legitimized, but it just doesn't feel right at the moment. So if you're wanting Carmella to hold the title, cashing it in on Naomi would be a lot better than her cashing it in on someone like higher up, like her cashing it in on Charlotte or her cashing it in on Becky. Any of those. It'd be much better for her to do it against Naomi.
Right, like cashing in on Tamina or Charlotte or Becky that doesn't seem like an option. But on a Lana or a Naomi, it seems like it's more plausible. I will say this though, Naomi's kicks, every time she's in the ring, and we talk about one of her matches, I always criticize her kicks about being sloppy and not looking too good. I will say this past week and a half, 2 weeks, when she's done some kicks, they've looked a lot better. They looked like she had proper form, it's weird to say she hadn't had proper form when she was a dancer, but dancing kicks and martial arts kicks are very different. They've got a different form and a different movement to them, and she looked and felt like she was actually fighting somebody instead of doing like a dance kick and connecting with it. It looked like she was trying to do something about it. So that was actually something I will give Naomi on it. And if I were going to have her have Carmella cash in, I would probably have her cash in on Lana or Naomi. Or I could see them having like put the briefcase up as a like Carmella putting the briefcase up for, like, you put up the title. Get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that could be cool. I mean, really, like Carmella said, and like I guess JBL, because it was JBL that said that, and to an extent, Daniel Bryan said there are really no rules about this yet, so they really could change some stuff up, make some really cool things happen, because this is the first time this has ever happened in WWE, at least. I mean, they've had a Money in the Bank type of thing over in TNA, which was not very good. And they had like 5 briefcases, and one of them had like
Feast or Fire. Wasn't that what they called it?
I think it was what it was. Feast or Famine or something.
Yeah.
And Rosemary's Spider was in one of the briefcases, and like a pair of panties or something was in another briefcase. I don't know. There's a whole mess. But anyway, they've got, it's basically an open road for them right now over in WWE, because they could really do anything with this. And what do they do with it? We don't know. But I would like to see that. I'd like to see the briefcase change hands a couple times before she cashes it in. But it'd be soon. But I'd like to see it, if Carmella is going to be the one that cashes it in. I want to see her cash it in sooner rather than later, probably on a Naomi or a Lana.
Agreed. Like I said, it's got to be on Naomi or Lana. She can't do it against the top-notch wrestlers and not get backlash from it. I mean,
right.
Those two are the only.
Backlash was like months ago, sir.
Oh, my mind's not right. It has to be against one of those two, though. But
yeah,
talking about Naomi and Lana, they had, at Money in the Bank, they had a match where Naomi won, and this past week they had a match and again, and Naomi won even faster.
Yeah.
With this feud, don't get me wrong, I kind of like this feud for Lana because. I mean, it feels like the WWE is not trying to hide her shortfalls. Like, we know she's not the most polished in the ring, and they're not trying to put her on as being the most polished person in the ring. Her deficiencies, it feels like they're like saying, hey, we're just going to let your deficiencies show and we're putting on a show. And it's working for her. But
and she's not bad, though.
She's not bad, but I mean, they're not trying to... How do I put this? They're not trying to act like she's Sasha Banks or Charlotte.
Right. They're not doing the Emmalina or whatever they were trying to do with Emma before she got hurt type of thing.
Yeah. But as far as this little mini feud goes, do you think this hurts or helps the SmackDown Women's title picture? Or does it just not do anything?
I don't really think it does much in the way of anything. It feels kind of like they needed a match to they needed her to defend, like they've got the 30-day rule, so they needed her to defend the title. They were like, oh, we've got at least one person on the roster who isn't doing anything, so let's put her in something, and then we can kind of push a feud between Carmella and Naomi and possibly Lana, because Carmella was the reason why Lana lost on the second go round. So we could see something. It's a mini feud that's probably going to blossom into a bigger 3-way feud very, very soon. It doesn't. at this very moment in time, it does nothing for the division, but it has potential to either feast or famine the division, to use a TNA term.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it, even though she's losing really fast, I feel like it actually helps Lana because it at least gets the fans in a mindset to recognize her as a wrestler and not just a mouthpiece for Rusev.
Yeah.
Like you said, for the division, it felt like Naomi had to do something because everybody else was preoccupied.
Mm-hmm.
But I really feel like Lana's probably going to be in the title picture eventually. Not anytime soon, but I feel like it will get there. But luckily, after this Money in the Bank business has subsided and things start getting more on a normal roll with, freeing up some people, the women's division has people there for SmackDown. I'm not quite sure why they haven't pushed Charlotte more. I don't know if it's just a matter of they're trying to turn her face and they're worried more about that than putting the title on her right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, SmackDown Women's Division, it's a lot deeper now than it was like this time last year.
Oh,
yeah.
It's deeper than it was this time, like 2 months ago, before the Superstar Stake Up.
Yeah, that.
I'm going with that. Don't cut that out.
Nope.
I want some stake ups. But yeah, so it's definitely deeper now, and it's stagnant, but it's not stagnant the way it was earlier, like a couple months ago. Like, nobody's moving, but it's because they have no place to go, but not because they have no place to go because they're not being written well. It's they have no place to go because everybody's at a stalemate with the briefcase in play, which makes it that's a different kind of stagnant than it was just like 2 months ago. That stagnant was we're not really sure where to go. But with the briefcase in play, that means that at any time the entire landscape could change. So they've fought each other to a stalemate. It's like the Battle of the Somme or something, where they're just waiting till one of them makes a big move, and a big move is going to have to be made just because of the nature of what's going on, and they all know that. So they're kind of sitting on their heels for a second, reeling from this big event that just happened. And it's not a bad stagnant, it's a stalemate instead of a stagnation of just nothing to do.
Agreed. It's definitely there feels like there's direction there to be made. Whereas months ago there was really no direction for the division outside of Becky's champion or Alexis' champion. So I get what you're saying. But speaking of a champion, Jinder Mahal is still the WWE champion. And this past week we found out that we're getting another Jinder Mahal and Randy Orton match at Battlegrounds. And do you know what this match is?
It is everybody's favorite Indian giant man's favorite giant cage match, giant, made of bamboo, giant bamboo.
The Punjabi Prison match.
Yes.
Ugh,
okay. I just didn't want to say it because it's so stupid.
Saying it makes it real.
Exactly.
I get this. I get that you don't want to overdo the cage matches or hardcore matches, and you're looking for something unique to put on. But has there ever been a good Punjabi Prison match Because I can't think of one.
No. I mean, if they want to do something that was like, oh, he's Indian, let's make up something that's Indian for him. I wouldn't do this. Have them fighting with cane poles. Have them fighting with bamboo sticks. Well, I mean, that's just a freaking Bayley Alexa match again, though. But I could see that being better than the Bayley Alexa match. But I mean, I don't know. Have them do what was it? Mumbai Street Fight is what they did over in TNA this past week between Hornswoggle and Rockstar Spud. And that was an amazing match, which is goofy to say the least, but it was an amazing match to see. And they were throwing those balls that are full of paint that they have at that big Indian paint party at the end of every year. They had those going around. That would be cool if they had WWE's creativity and budget doing something like that. Or I mean, there's a few different things that they could do that are Indian versus Punjabi Prison, and I mean, I don't know. I'm not that I'm been played out on cage matches. I just don't like that cage match. You could do not a Hell in the Cell, but one of the ones that's the bigger cage, which is what they're trying to do, is a bigger cage match. But I don't know. They're trying to make it Indian sounding. So I don't know what their other option would have been. But at the same time, I kind of wouldn't mind just a normal match.
Yeah, that's my biggest thing is, not to get all politically correct or political or anything like that, but why do they feel the need to? I get they want to sell in India. That's one of the reasons we have Jinder Mahal. But why does it have to be something Indian oriented? This type of this third and I guess final showdown. Why can't it just be like? I get why they don't want to do just a normal singles match because it's the don't really want to call it a rubber match because Randy Orton hasn't won. But
technically it's supposed to be the rubber match, probably though.
Yeah, but I get they don't want to just do a regular match, but they could have come up with anything.
Yeah, I mean, and the Punjabi Prison is not it's not Indian. It's not an Indian thing. Like you don't. I'm sure there are prisons in the Punjab province of India, but I'm sure they don't look like that.
That's just racist.
I mean, I'm sure that they are not made of bamboo.
What kind of image are you trying to paint, WWE?
Yeah, I mean, it's not. There's nothing that screams India about it. If anything, it screams more like Vietnam or
Vietnam does make sense.
Yeah, I mean, because there's pictures of the POW prisons. They were made of bamboo like that. But I mean, it doesn't really say India other than having the name Punjab on it, which is just like a state or a province in India. But I don't know what is uniquely India. What they could make that would be uniquely Indian. I mean, when I think of India, I think of lots and lots of people and soccer and like chicken, like really good chicken. They could have a cook-off. That'd be cool.
Why not?
Yeah. Why don't they do a match that is uniquely Randy Orton or uniquely Orton family? But that would just be a match where you're doing DDTs to people, elevated superplexes and stuff. So, I don't know. I don't know what their other option would be, but I just don't like the Punjabi Prison match, mainly because I don't like what's his name, the wrestling impresario of India.
You're talking about the Great Khali.
Yeah, that's it. The only time I enjoyed him was when he was in The Longest Yard. When he was in the ring, I didn't care for him at all.
He was pretty good in The Longest Yard. He did halfway make that movie funny.
Yeah. I mean, Ryan Cloud, you were sitting there watching wrestling one time. I walk in the room and I'm like, oh, that's that guy. I'm going to go in my room and just put on some headphones. I don't care what's going on that screen. And then Ryan Cloud's like, oh, man. And it happened.
I forgive you. It's all good. But
yeah. Speaking of championship chances and all of this stuff and rubbers and all kinds of things like that, and formerly talking about the Money in the Bank, tell me what happened at the other Money in the Bank match. The one that nobody seems to have been talking about at all.
I know, it just kind of has flown under the radar. And it could be because of the winner. I don't know. But we ended up with Baron Corbin walking away with that Money in the Bank match. We kind of said he was one of our dark horse candidates.
Yeah.
He had been kind of getting a lot of rep from winning that Andre the Giant Battle Royal a year ago. And it looks like SmackDown is determined to make Baron Corbin one of their essential heels on the programs. I mean, this past week he beat Sami Zayn. I mean, he's been Sami Zayn. Yeah. He's been a prominent figure on SmackDown, in the SmackDown heel world, so to say. He's been a prominent heel on SmackDown.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this Money in the Bank win basically establishes him as, in my opinion, the next heel WWE champion after Mahal sails into the sunset and we never remember him.
No, we'll remember him next time they do another Punjabi Prison match.
I couldn't tell you who's been in the other ones except for the Great Khali.
That's the only thing that matters about them. Is they've got an Indian guy in them. That's the only thing that matters.
I think John Cena might have been in one. I'm not sure.
It's probably true. But yeah, I don't know. My favorite part about this was while Corbin was getting the briefcase, there was a kid with a sign that said "Boring Corbin" or "Boring Corbin," and I was like, "Yes, that's very true." I hope he doesn't go away with it because it's gonna be a struggle to watch this TV because he's just not very good. I mean, he's okay, but he's not very good. He's not a lead man. If we're like casting roles, he would work okay as a like a supporting actor, but he's just not very good as a lead guy because he's kind of boring. I mean, if I want a big my favorite heels, I mean, my current favorite heel is probably Kevin Owens because he's interesting and he's cool and all that stuff. And apparently people at the Chick-fil-A, Satan Chicken, Ryan Cloud,
the devil.
They think I look like him, so whatever. But yeah, I mean, if I'm picking a heel, I'm not picking Baron Corbin. I'm picking a Miz. I'm picking a Kevin Owens. I'm picking I mean, heck, I might even pick a Curtis Axel over him because Curtis Axel at least is kind of interesting compared to Baron Corbin. Baron Corbin is he's not interesting at all, and he makes really bad jokes about the NFL, and I don't want to hear your bad NFL joke that has no inflection to it. Like a bad dad joke that has no feeling is just ugh. And that's Baron Corbin. So I don't know. I'd rather not. That's just how. Like I said, I want that title to switch hands a couple times or not title, but the briefcase to switch hands a couple times in the women's division. I just want the title or the title shot to switch out of his hand into somebody else's.
Yeah, but I don't see that happening. I don't have a massive problem with Baron Corbin. I'll say that. Like I think the kid's got potential. I say kid, he's probably older than me. But I think that he's got potential given the right situation. Like, I feel like he needs to talk less and just produce more. Like, his in-ring ability isn't bad. Like, it's come. It's come miles and miles from where he was in NXT, or even when he first showed up. But on the mic, he's not good. He needs a mouthpiece.
Yeah, that's exactly. He's just not very good. Like, he's okay. He's an okay worker, but he's not very good in general. If they gave him Enzo More, I don't know, that'd be kind of weird.
That would be the most weird combination.
But if they gave him like an Enzo to a Cass, like if he were Cass, he needs an Enzo. He doesn't need a Mojo to a returning guy. What's his name?
Zack Ryder.
Yeah, that's it. He doesn't need like a Mojo. He doesn't really need an Enzo. He doesn't need exactly what Paul Heyman is, but he needs something similar. If you get what I'm saying.
Like a Paul Ellering.
Yeah, like a Paul Ellering or a Zeb Coulter. Not exactly, but kind of like that. Doesn't need exactly the Zeb Coulter. I just mean something along those lines of not overly hypey, but not necessarily too litigatey the way Paul Heyman is. That's what he needs. He needs somebody to talk for him. He needs a Josh Matthews. That's right. WWE, pick up Josh Matthews after his contract runs out on Sunday and put him with Baron Corbin. That's what you need.
Yeah.
Or Matt Stryker.
Yeah, I mean, like we've been saying, he needs a mouthpiece, and I think if he just got that one piece and he didn't have to talk as much, he could be a decent heel. And which I still don't have a problem with him winning that the title shot, but I think more people would be on board if he had something like that with him.
Yes,
but
that's what would get me on board, is somebody else talking for him.
Yeah, but sort of opposite of what we said with Carmella, I feel like Corbin's probably going to hold on to this for a while.
Yeah.
I don't think he's ready right now to cash it in and be. He's not ready to be WWE champion. I mean, I know we hate on Jinder Mahal, but at least he looks like and acts like someone you want to hate.
Yes.
Corbin right now, I can't believe I just gave Jinder Mahal props. Corbin right now still has some growing to do. I say give it till, we're in June. Give it till November, December, somewhere in that. He doesn't need to hold it till WrestleMania.
No.
Not need to hold it till WrestleMania. But somewhere before the end of the year, he may have grown enough to cash it in. I don't think it needs to be at one of the major pay-per-views, your Survivor Series or Royal Rumbles or anything like that. But he needs to cash it in before the end of the year.
Cashes in at Monsters Ball or whatever that old one was that used to be the New Year's Eve one.
New Year's Revolution.
Yeah, one of those ones. That'd be a pretty cool place for him to cash it in. I don't think anybody'd watch though, but it'd be an okay place for him to watch, or for him to cash in somewhere late December. I'm trying to think of the old one that was like the one that had like Santa's name in the thing in the name of the pay-per-view. They had like Goldberg dressed as Santa.
I have no idea.
That'd be the place for him to cash it in. Or if they redid a Bash at the Beach in late summer, that would be too soon. So like Halloween Havoc, they reopen Halloween Havoc, he cashes it in there. That's it.
Or they just reopen Starrcade and we do it. I miss Starrcade. It was so great.
Well, who owns Starrcade now?
WCW.
Because Starrcade is not. Well, it wasn't owned by WCW though. It was owned by NWA.
Oh.
Yeah. and WCW just was the most major promotion that had TV. So Starrcade is NWA. So I guess TNA technically owns Starrcade. I'm not sure.
I'm not either.
Because Starrcade is the best of all the people at NWA, or at least is what it used to be. And then WCW was in partnership with NWA. So then I think Slammiversary would have been the same as Starrcade. I don't know who owns the rights to that, but it would be an interesting thing, because that was like the wrestle for anybody who doesn't know wrestling pre, I guess 2002. Starrcade was the WrestleMania of NWA affiliated promotions, which WCW was the largest NWA affiliated promotion. So it was basically WCW's WrestleMania, basically. So if you have network, go check it out. They got some pretty awesome matches. Trying to think of some awesome matches that were on Starrcade. I'm sure there's some Hogan matches. Ric Flair won at least one of his championships at Starrcade. So go check them out. They're pretty cool.
I mean, while we're on that, probably the one moment, if anyone does remember, the infamous moment that happened at Starrcade was a bad one. And that was when Goldberg's streak ended in a very screwy taser-filled thing.
Yeah, I'd block that out of my mind.
It was terrible. Poor Goldberg.
Goldberg. Then the next night, he destroyed his arm by punching a window. Ugh.
But once again, I did my research while we were talking, and apparently WWE does own the rights to Starrcade.
Okay, no, I guess that makes sense. Even though it seems kind of screwy that WWE would own it, but I guess that makes sense why they didn't call Slammiversary Starrcade anymore, even though NWA was affiliated with TNA at that point. So I guess that makes sense. So anyway, we
digress.
So you want to move swiftly on to Raw? Anything cool happened in Raw?
Let's see. What something cool that happened in Raw? I can tell you something that cool happened in Raw. Brock Lesnar got choked out.
He was purple.
Brock Lesnar was gassed. We saw the Beast Incarnate whimper.
Yes. That was crazy.
That was surprising.
Yes. So let's back up a hair. There's this little island out in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. It was caused by volcanic activity back in the beginning of the Earth. And then all these things happened. There's some people, they all decided they liked wrestling, and then America came and killed everybody. And then they were like, no, we can wrestle. It's cool. So America was like, okay, that's cool. Come on. And then there was these guys. There was a guy named Rocky Johnson. There was a big chief. There was the Anoa'i clan, and then The Rock, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, small boy, became an amazing person and all this stuff, and then there was a guy who was born around 1986 to a family not involved with the wrestling tradition. And his name was Joseph. And one day he signed a contract with WWE to become a hitman. Do you know who I'm talking about, Ryan Cloud?
Please inform us.
Well, his name was Joseph, and since he was not part of the clan, he decided he would just go by Samoa Joe instead of any of the other random Samoan names that pop up in wrestling right now. And this does not sit too well with another Samoan that is in this organization. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Roman Reigns.
Yeah, that's who I'm talking about. Roman Reigns does not like Samoa Joe because he is now just Joe to him because he does not deserve to be a Samoan at all because he is not part of the family. That is not so good. So this has ticked off Samoa Joe something fierce, and this has ticked him off so bad that he starts just destroying people. And he is so angry that he pushed his rage at the unbeatable Rock and the Hard Place, Brock Lesnar. And oh boy, this is heating up. Heating up. Ron Claude, who's winning this match?
I'm still obliged to say that Brock Lesnar's probably gonna win, just because everything's been going Samoa Joe's way up to this point. But I'll tell you, it's really surprising that creative has decided to go in this direction where we see Brock Lesnar seeming oh so very human, and we see Samoa Joe being essentially the destroyer of worlds at the moment. I mean, he beat down Paul Heyman, and there was that big clash the week after that, and this past week he locks in the coquina clutch. Lesnar does everything he can to get him off him, and we see the Beast Incarnate wilt.
Yes, dude, this is craziness. It's not something you ever thought you'd see, especially just like, I don't know. I never expect to see Brock Lesnar show up anywhere, and then he's there, and then he gets choked out. This is insanity. And I'm not talking about the group over on NXT. I'm talking about just craziness. I don't know. How hyped are you for this match right now?
I mean, this match is probably the first match in a long while that has that big match feel. I mean, it feels like a blockbuster fight. And especially with Samoa Joe proving that he is a formidable opponent. I mean, there's some situation where you're like, this person, I guess, technically could beat Brock Lesnar, but it's not going to happen. I guess you look back at like the Dean Ambrose fight with Brock. Like this has to me a bigger big fight feel than Brock Lesnar Goldberg.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So, I mean, I'm super hyped for this. I mean, I'm sure Brock Lesnar's going to win because that just seems like what's in the cards right now.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But this is going to be a really good match.
He's going to win, but it's going to be a hard-fought match. That's the easiest way to put it. Speaking of hard-fought matches, and this one really tugs at my heartstrings, we found out who has been destroying the certified G's, the bona fide studs. And who was that, Ryan Claw?
It pains me to say this, but it was Big Cass himself.
That's right, we were right. Right. Even though he called us out on live TV, we were right. Yeah, that was. I feel like those were real tears that Enzo had going down his cheek. It seemed like he was actually feeling some pain, and I feel for him. I mean, it's unfortunate. It's like when I found out that our roommate was secretly plotting to hit me with that ball that one time we were playing that game where we were running around hitting each other with balls. Right as I'm walking out the elevator, he got an illegal. It was illegal. It was against the rules of the game, and then he got me.
I completely forgot about that.
Yep. I had forgotten about it too until just now. Anyways. Yeah. So, yeah. What does this mean for Enzo and Cass?
Well,
let's let's back up for a second.
Okay.
Then this week, Cass came out and apologized to Enzo. And then as they're walking off, he jumps him again. Now we're all completely up to speed.
Yes.
Now, back to that question. What does this mean for Enzo and Cass?
I mean, I think the direction for Cass is pretty clear. After this feud has sailed off into the sunset, Cass is going to be the next big heel main eventer. I mean, he's going to probably go upper mid-card first, but eventually we all know that's where the roads are going. It's been whispers for I don't know how long now that Cass is Vince's new golden boy.
Well, yeah.
So,
I've been saying that since he was in NXT.
Yeah, so for Cass, his road is set. I don't know how far he's going to go. I don't know if he's going to reach that end point that, say, a Drew McIntyre never reached, but he's at least set in that direction.
The point Drew McIntyre reached in TNA, though.
Yeah, he reached it in TNA, but for Enzo, I think those were real tears because he knows that he doesn't really have much of a direction after this.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the mouthpiece. He's not the in-ring
right
superstar.
And he's okay in the ring, but he's not known for his competition.
No.
He's known for spitting hot fire, dropping in bars. He joins New Day. That's what he does. That would be awesome.
Maybe. I don't know.
Ooh, I've got an idea.
What?
So, him and Carmelo were like a thing in NXT, and he goes over to... It's kind of a thing, like not a thing, not like what's going on.
Big Cass.
I know, but hear me out. All three of them were like a thing. When I don't mean like a thing like what's going on with him and not him, Carmella and James Ellsworth. I mean like a thing like a unit. Yeah. Yeah. So he goes over to Smackdown. He does what you just did. He beats up James Ellsworth and becomes her new mouthpiece. That's what happens. And then they unify and they go beat up Big Cass. And yeah. I don't know. I just liked all three of them together.
True, I do miss.
All three of them were better together than they could ever be apart.
Yeah, and this is one of those things that feels like it was forced. Like, it didn't have to happen right now. Like, Big Cass and Enzo had cooled off a little bit, but that was not necessarily because of them. It was because creative decided to push everyone in front of them for whatever reason instead of striking the iron while it's hot.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, there's only two ways that this is going to end for Enzo. Either he's going to flounder in obscurity or be forced to wrestle on 205 Live or something like that, which wouldn't be necessarily all that bad if he could find a niche, but he's not good enough in the ring to be on 205 Live.
Well, they said they've pointed out several times about Enzo that he is just slightly outside of their parameters for 205 Live. So that's kind of pointing at the fact that they don't want him on 205 Live, I'm pretty sure. They think that he's probably better as a mainstay guy. But I don't know how he's going to be without Colin Cassidy.
Well, that was where my next thing goes. Either he's going to be over here in obscurity and eventually forgotten about, or he can build on his wrestling ability and just talk his way through being relevant in the main card. I mean, he's got the mic skills to do it.
Yeah, there's plenty of guys that have been not as good in the ring as you want them to be, but are like really good on the mic. I mean, you've looking at my Funko Pop mystery figure collection in front of me, I've got what's his name, the $1 Million Man right there, Ted DiBiase.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't as good in the ring as you want him to be, as you'd expect him to be for his high level and high amount of praise. But he was really good on the mic as well. So that made up for it.
And I mean, I've got one even now, and I hate to give him such high praise, but it's got to give it to him. It's John Cena.
John Cena's really good in the ring,
but
though.
No. What I'm saying is, when he first got there, he was not good in the ring at all.
Oh, yeah. When he first came up from OVW.
Yeah, he was a talker. That's all he was. And his in-ring ability just happened to get better. I mean, he progressed a lot faster than most people. But, I mean, his in-the-ring just progressively got better to where his in-ring ability caught up with his ability to talk on the mic, and he became a superstar. That's kind of what I'm saying with Enzo, is if his in-ring ability can catch up to where he is on the mic, I'm not saying he's going to be the second coming to John Cena, and we all hope he's not. But he could be relevant in...
You need a lot of vitamins to get up to that level.
He would be relevant on the main roster, is what I'm basically saying, if his in-ring ability caught up with his mic skills.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, or he could wind up being like a Bobby Heenan or a Jim Cornette. I mean, that's not it wouldn't be a bad fate for him either, to be like either of them. And he'd just be like, what is it? Like, what is the word? Like a freelance mouthpiece type of thing. It wouldn't have to be connected to one specific person, and he could just freelance manager. Or could manage a few people. It could be I almost said Cletus Brand, Titus Brand versus Enzo Brand. That could be cool. I wouldn't mind that at all. It'd be an interesting it'd be an interesting storyline, in fact. So, I mean, it could be something that is a way they go. And they've had success with doing stuff like that in the past. Like I said, Bobby Heenan, he wasn't really very good in the ring, but he was fire on the mic. So, I mean, you've got a history of things like that happening. So, it's not outside of the realm of possibility.
The only thing that I have with that is when you're talking about like your Bobby Heenan or, you know, your Jim Cornettes and things like that. Here's the thing with when I'm thinking of Enzo is he's fire on the mic, but it's a certain style.
It's a very certain thing, though. Yeah,
it's a certain style that won't fit with just anybody, and I'm not even sure outside of Big Cass if there's anyone that would mesh as well with Enzo with that. Like we know his style. We don't really know how he would fit if he went a separate direction, like a, you know, more traditional manager direction. Yeah.
I mean, we've seen him try to do his style with other people too. When Big Cass was disposed at some point, like with the most recent thing with him doing it with Big Show, and that was great. Like Big Show looked out of place as all get out, but at the same time, it was great to see that kind of mesh well. It didn't mesh well, but it played off each other.
It was a Bryan, a Daniel Bryan Kane type of
yes. So maybe they move. I got it. To bring Kane back, it's gonna be a Kane Enzo Amore. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be perfect. He's gonna come back. He's gonna put Knoxvillian decrees from the ring. They become law in Knoxville, and he's gonna have Enzo deliver them. It'll be great. But no, I mean, I don't know where they go with him other than that. So I mean, they've got to find somebody that's gonna mesh well. The only things I can think of that he could go into and it be okay, possibly would be him joining the New Day or him joining the Usos with their current incarnation. But he's a little bit more loud than the Usos want to be. Even though the Usos want to talk about how they're urban and can spit hot fire and drop mad bars and all that stuff, they're nothing like what Enzo's doing. And I don't know. If they want to talk like that, they need to pick him up. But I don't know. That requires jumping brands and all kinds of stuff, and that they're not going to do that, I don't think, at the moment.
Probably not. I don't know. I just hope we don't see Enzo get lost in the shuffle after this.
Yeah, it's going to be unfortunate. So, I guess, anything else cool happening on Raw? I don't know.
We got Roman Reigns shoved in a freaking ambulance.
Yeah. We're gonna have an ambulance match at Great Balls of Fire.
Goodness
Who-
gracious. Great Balls of Fire.
Who you got? Who you thinking?
I'm thinking... that's a tough one. My heart says... My mind says Strowman, but my heart says it's probably going to be Roman. Like, I feel like
you've got those mixed.
Maybe I do. I don't know. Whatever the saying is.
You want Strowman, but you have a feeling it's going to be Roman.
Yeah, that's it.
Then you had it backward.
Okay, then I got it backwards. My bad.
Roman.
I just feel like...
And you're a home.
What?
I said you're a home man.
Anyways, I just have this feeling that you can only have Strowman defeat Roman Reigns so many times. And I mean, I'm saying this is WWE's thinking, not mine. You can defeat Roman as many times as you want to. I don't care. But I feel like WWE's not going to let Strowman beat Roman. Unless their end game is to eventually have Strowman versus Brock Lesnar, then we might see Strowman win this match.
Well, I feel like we were supposed to have a Lesnar-Strowman match recently earlier, but he got hurt. So, I mean, it feels kind of bad for him to come back off an injury and lose, but we just saw that happen with the Hype Bros also.
Yeah.
So, it feels like it'd be bad to have that happen, but at the same time, I don't know. What did Baron Corbin say? He said, it seems like in this company, he said this on Talking Smack this past week, it seems like in this company, if you come back from an injury, you automatically get a chance, you get a big match, but you're going to lose it. And I think that's what he said. Before or during Talking Smack after the Hype Bros lost. So, I don't know. Roman goes over, Superman punching Strowman through the doors. Like, they open out, he punches them through them so they go in. And then they drive off. They both, and no, it drives off with both of them in the back, still fighting. That would be an interesting way to end it.
Then let's have it a spear then.
Yeah. Through the doors, and then it drives off as they're both inside it. That would be pretty cool.
It'd be pretty cool if that happened and it wasn't scripted.
Yeah.
like the ambulance driver's just sitting there and he just hears something go in the bag. He's like, well, time to go.
Oh, well.
It just drives off.
They're driving off, and the gurney that they're fighting on rolls out the back. And they're like, oh, crap, how do we lose? How do we finish this match now?
We don't know the verdict.
And then it becomes like a comedy of errors, like a Three Stooges where Roman's pushing the gurney and Strowman's like waving his arms about and he's chasing the ambulance. That would be awesome. If I were booking, that's how I would book it.
That's ratings right there. That's ratings.
Yeah. And then it becomes a buddy comedy from that point forward.
That's how it's going down.
Book it, WWE. Book it. Hashtag Ron Cloud for creative. Hashtag Lee Craft for creative. Yep. Let's get that trending on the Twitter machine.
Oh,
anyways. So we got a little bit of news going up on the place. We have a feeling that, well, we don't have a feeling, we know that Maria Kanellis came out with the Miracle. Like I said, I said it was going to be on Tuesday, but it didn't happen on Tuesday. It happened at the Money in the Bank match. Ron Cloud, what are your thoughts on that? Mike Bennett and Maria Kanellis.
I think...
Or hold on. It's Maria Kanellis and Mike Kanellis. Sorry. That's kind of say.
To say that I was a little bit surprised would be an understatement, because, like you said, we didn't think that this was going to happen. Like, we both said, there's no way they're going to come to the WWE with some past things that happened, but lo and behold, they show up. And I think Smackdown is a good landing spot for them. Especially for Mike Bennett, or my bad, Mike Kanellis. Because that's just another, decent wrestler to add to that U.S. title picture, to add, just to the show as a whole. And of course, Maria, we know what she can do. She's and what she is for the women's division. So, I mean, I think it's a good addition.
Yeah, I have a feeling that I don't know if I'm going to like their character, though. Because I don't think it's going to be what it was over in TNA. Because Mike Bennett, or Mike Kanellis, seems to be more like he's pining over her the whole time. He's holding her hand, holding it close to her, stroking it, doing the, I don't know, it seems like he's her, what was the word you used earlier? Simp? Yeah, that's kind of what he seems like. It seems like it's the not flamboyant version of what is going on with, Goofy Goober with no chin. Everybody's favorite Ellsworth. But, yeah, it feels like it's I don't know. He doesn't feel like the Miracle Mike Bennett. And I'm sure there's a reason behind that. I'm sure that they're like, oh, we don't want to license TNA's Miracle stuff. Because they probably own the name Miracle Mike Bennett, instead of whatever. So it's one of those things. I have a feeling I'm not going to like the character. I do like him. I like his skill. He's really good. He's really good on the mic. He's really good all the time. She is amazing as well, but I don't know. I really don't know. I'm kind of afraid of where they're going to go with it. And we've only seen them twice so far. We saw them at Money in the Bank, and then we saw them get interrupted by Sami Zayn as they were starting to do a promo. And I don't know. I miss the gold star falling from the sky, the word miracle. I miss the music. I miss all that. But we already have a glorious Bobby Roode doing a very similar thing. We already have a Gold Dust. We already have several really similar things to what he's got going on. But I don't know. They need heels. His old persona from TNA and all the indies is a really good heel persona, but I have a feeling we're not going to see that.
I don't know. I'm still going to hold out at least a little bit of hope. I mean, I would really hope that creative wasn't planning on building this as probably a better version of Carmella and Ellsworth with a large Mike Bennett. I would hope that wouldn't be their direction, but
yeah, I wouldn't say better. I'd just say different version.
Different version, yeah.
Yeah, it feels more like the way that he's acting around her. It feels more like he's going to be like a male valet, the same way that Ellsworth is a male valet to Carmella, but not just that same dynamic, not that same way, though, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, I got you. And it may be going that way with the Mike Kanellis thing going. But
I could see, but if it puts Mike Kanellis beating up James Ellsworth, I ain't gonna complain.
But
yeah.
Yeah, I guess we can jump shit back to Raw.
But I mean, is there any more on Raw you want to throw in there?
Actually, I guess really one of the last main talking points that I can think of on Raw at the moment would be, I don't even know if we want to talk about that much. We had the balls. We had the balls on Miz TV. And if you're not a follower of college basketball, let me just say this. Lavar Ball is everything that, I'm not going to say everything that a parent shouldn't be, but he should be everything a parent should strive not to be.
He's a stage mom.
He's
stage mom.
He has 3 sons. 2 of them probably will make it. Well, one's in the NBA. One, the youngest, will probably be in the NBA, and the middle one's just kind of lost in transition. Even though there's hope for him to be in the NBA. But LeVar, everyone, by now you've had to at least see him once. But he comes out.
Ron Cloud, I got them shoes. I'm telling you, I done bought them. I got like 3 pair already.
That you need to be smacked.
Yep, I used our podcast money. I didn't give you any.
Did I bring you some of them shoes?
You can have a shoe. You can have one shoe.
You better give me a pair of those shoes. Better have a size 12 right now. I'm just saying.
Oh, just one. Get one.
But I mean,
size 3.
Anyways, and LeVar came out and he was everything that you would expect him to be. I mean, he fits right into the WWE universe with what he does on the mic. I don't know how I feel about shirtless LeVar Ball. But it was definitely entertainment. I mean, and he was brought on to bring in some casual viewers that night. I mean,
yeah,
that was the whole reason he was there, and he performed. I mean, that's what he did. He performed. Oh
boy, did he perform!
And of course, you got the whole LaMelo thing, which if you didn't catch the joke at the beginning of the podcast, might want to go back and watch that segment.
Yeah, the internet was offended. Soup's offended.
And I don't know. Like I said, off the air, if you go back, you have to be listening for it. It's like one person probably caught it, and
yeah, I didn't hear it, but at the same time though, I know people that drop that in sentences all the time. I mean,
what are you talking about?
I mean,
what are you inferring? I'm just saying. What are you inferring?
So I didn't even catch it. But Ryan Cloud was offended.
Oh,
Ryan Cloud probably didn't notice it until after.
Until people started making a big deal about it, and I was like, what?
Like I said, I know people that drop that in sentences all the time. I'm not saying who.
I'm not saying. I'm just saying. But
exactly.
I mean, we had that whole fiasco. And probably one of the more prominent things that we were about to miss, really quickly. We had a Gauntlets women's match for the #1 contendership.
Oh yeah.
And Sasha won.
Yeah. I mean, it really made Nia look really strong, but at the same time, I mean, well, you kind of expect whoever was Iron Man in the match to lose on the very last person, because that's usually how these work, because that's usually how this works in general. When you have those one night tournaments and stuff in the MMA, almost said in the UFC. I was gonna say, what is this? 1999 WWE. The guy that gets all the way to the end and has at least one more match than the other one, they tend to lose just because tired. So that makes sense. It makes sense that she lost. What does this mean for Nia?
For Nia, I just feel like they made her look strong. I still think that she's going to get a title opportunity at some point. She'll have a title run at some point. But I feel like Sasha was the best option in this. I mean, we haven't seen Sasha and Alexa, and all I gotta say is Alexa better not beat Sasha.
Okay. I get you. You just don't want Daddy's little monster to win. Little Miss Bliss knows what's up. You're just, all you want is, no, I don't know. If I were going to pick somebody out of the group that was in the match, I would have preferred either Sasha or Emma. Those are the two that would have been the most likely in my mind to go. Because, like you said, we haven't seen Sasha. I don't think we've seen Emma either. Emma either. But that's also, Emma is a heel, and the writing doesn't write very well, I guess, according to creative. I'm sure you could write that well, though, if you wanted to. But they're also trying to make Sasha into a heel, too, or a tweener. More heelish tweener, but a tweener at the same time. So, I don't know. There's a few places they could go with it. But those are the two I would have gone with out of the field. Scusi. But, yeah. That's kind of how it works. So, speaking of what you were saying about let's see. What does this mean for Sasha? That's probably what I need to ask for you.
For Sasha, I feel like this is another chance for her to get in the women's title picture. And I think that's mainly it, is just to have her hang around the title. Here's my thing, and it kind of goes back to what we were talking about with Baron Corbin, is I think that WWE and Raw are set on making Alexa Bliss their golden child at this point. I feel like they're not ready to take the belt off her for whatever reason. And I could see this feud between her and Sasha going maybe a couple pay-per-views. I think Alexa will win at Great Balls of Fire. I think Sasha will win at whatever their next pay-per-view title fight will be. That's what I'm seeing.
Yeah. Bash at the Beach. That's what it's going to be.
You just want to bring back every WCW pay-per-view. Go ahead and throw in Road Wild.
I was going to say road rules and just like put them all in a van and have them drive across the country.
Well,
make that a pay-per-view.
Show like that, huh?
Oh yeah, that's true. See, they're already doing it. See, I'm not saying I'm a low-level writer for WWE. I'm just saying you don't see me and low-level writers for WWE in the same room at the same time. I'm just whatever. Like Batman. I'm not saying I'm Batman. I might be Batman. I'm Batman. Yeah. What does it mean for Sasha? It means Sasha is going to dominate and be dominatable, not indomitable. What does it mean for the women's division, though? I don't really know, because I feel like the fact that the Money in the Bank, the briefcase is only on SmackDown, there doesn't seem like there's as much tension over on Raw. And that's not a bad thing, but it's not a good thing either. I feel like they need something that raises the tension over in Raw for the women's division. Because, I don't know, maybe a Money in the Bank for Raw itself as well. Or maybe the Money in the Bank briefcase can be used. It's supposed to be able to be used at any match, anywhere, any arena, at anywhere in the world. So if it could go and jump brands, that would be awesome. But I have a feeling Ryan Cloud would not like that. Right, Ryan Cloud?
I wouldn't have a big issue with that, no. I mean, it would give us a chance to see. It would, for one thing, it would definitely increase the surprise factor when someone did cash it in, especially if it was cross-brand.
Mm-hmm.
And it would also give us a chance to see. That would give us another opportunity for a superstar to actually cross over without having to wait a whole year for the shakeup or a redraft or whatever they plan to do next year. So I wouldn't have a problem with that per se.
Okay. I feel you. I like it. I mean, I guess that's pretty much it, though, with what's gone on this week. Unless you want to talk about NXT.
I don't have anything on NXT. Do you have anything on NXT?
There wasn't really much that went on NXT.
Oh.
We had Hideo Itami get his nose busted, and I feel for him because I lost a match because I had my nose busted like that once, and I had all them nose tampons up in there. If you go back on my Facebook, I don't know, it might be on my Facebook, go like to one of my very first photos. It is me just covered in blood because I got nose tampons up in there. It's a great way to lose a match. You go up to pin them, and they stop the match for blood time, even though you've got a pinned. It's a horrible thing. I don't know. I just wanted to talk about that because me and Hideo Itami we're like blood brothers. It's cool. Don't worry about it.
You're one.
Yeah, we're basically one. That's how it is. That's how it works now. Break your nose. You both break your nose. It's cool. Break your nose in the same way. Only Lorcan got kind of got beat down afterward though. So wasn't able to do that because I was at a TSSAA sanctioned match. So it doesn't quite work the same way at a TSSAA sanctioned match versus a WWE sanctioned match. Ryan Cloud, what do you think that is? I don't know. I'm pretty sure everybody knows why. And then other things, let's see. We had a Peyton Royce match versus Ember Moon, and I'm pretty sure Ember Moon won, but y'all know how I like Peyton Royce. Y'all know how I like Ember Moon. And I looked away and I looked back and Hideo Itami was in the ring. So I don't know what happened because it was not that much of a match that made you keep your attention. So yeah, that was unfortunate. Then we had a what's her name? Cross versus Asuka match, and it was okay. It was crazy though. And we saw, it was, what is it? Last woman standing match is what it was. And we saw Asuka take the W, and whoa, it was a brutal match. We saw, I think it was Asuka did a superplex to Nikki Cross through a table off of a 16-foot ladder. It was scary, something to see, a scary thing to see on NXT. You kind of get used to that when you have certain people in the ring on the main roster, but on NXT, that's not the kind of thing you see normally. And then we also had Cassius Ohno. Ron, what did I text you about Cassius Ohno?
You said they need to quit dressing him in jerseys because it makes him look fatter than what he is.
Yes. It looks like they're putting it, normally when people wear jerseys, they wear a jersey that is one or two sizes too big. It feels like they're putting him in jerseys that are one size too small. It does not look so good. That's my only criticism of what they're doing with Cassius Ohno, because everything else that he does is really cool. So, I mean, yeah, that was pretty much NXT. NXT was not a lot of going on, but, it wasn't bad. It was just kind of not a lot going on. So, I mean, they don't have anything coming up, so they have a little bit of time to rebuild stories, and they have some time to kind of rebuild Ember Moon because she's been out with a shoulder injury. So, was it shoulder? I think it's shoulder injury. But so. That she received from Asuka. But yeah, took her out of the title picture for a little bit. few months, I think. So, yeah, there wasn't much going on NXT. We do have one little bit of news that's coming out. That is, we're going to see John Cena. Boo, boo, doo, boo. He's going to be coming out on July 4th. Ron Cloud, how do you feel about John Cena coming out on July 4th as the hottest free agent in the sports entertainment world?
It's definitely a ratings grab.
Mm-hmm. It is the worst viewed show, like, worst viewed day of TV ever is July 4th. So that they're trying to grab some ratings by bringing in the American hero, John Cena. Yep. That's pretty much all I've got really for this little bit of rumors. And we've gone on pretty well. We've gone on for quite a while, so might as well go ahead and start hitting that dusty road. Ron Cloud, do you agree with that?
Yeah. I think it's time to start that engine and just keep jumping out.
Sorry, I thought Baron Corbin was coming in. It's going to do his intro there. Baron Corbin.
Nope. I don't see him anywhere. Or Dean Ambrose. Okay.
Dean Ambrose. He's the one who actually had the original one. Anyway, let us know what you think about our analysis below. Hit us up in the comments. Throw us a like, a comment, subscribe, do all those things. And hit us up on the socials. They are somewhere in this nebulous area in and around the description. And hit us up. Just let us know what's going on. I guess, Ryan Cloud, got any closing thoughts?
Just tune in next time.
All right. Well, I guess we will catch you on the flip-flop. Bye.